Do you ever notice that as you give people a little more, they all of a sudden want to take more? This is really an interesting phenomenon when I work with couples or with other individuals. I see this happen is we're trying to help resolve conflict and problems. And the one person, and this can be happening with somebody to you, is when you give that person more liberty and more freedom, it seems they become more aggressive. So this is really interesting and very intriguing to me, is why does that person become more aggressive when you try to be nicer? So let's just imagine that they got a bucket, and this bucket is just filled with junk. Now, as you go to them and you're trying to help them be better and improve your relationship, whether that's an employee or a spouse or a parent or a sibling, it doesn't really matter, the relationship, because emotionally it's going to act and react exactly the same way. So here's what's happening, is that person has a perceived what they can do and boundaries. They have perceived boundaries with you. They know that there's limitations that you have set in place. There are unwritten rules in your relationship with them. And again, it can be spouses, it can be employers, it can be anybody. So the unwritten rules are you'll let them go this far, or they can go this far, and this one. Now, what happens when you change the boundaries? It gives a whole new permissions of what they can do in them boundaries. Particularly, this is true when you're trying to be nice and you're trying to help improve the relationship. So what happens? You got to understand emotionally, they have this bucket full of junk. And as you go to improve the relationship, so instead of it being overflowing with junk, all of a sudden you now have some of this is not longer there, but what happens is there's still junk in the bucket. Now this is really intriguing. As you make it a safe place for them, you change the boundaries, you change the rules. Guess what? They got all this other junk that has not been dealt with. And now it's not overflowing, so it's not as obvious. You don't see it anymore. You don't see it in their actions on a daily basis. But it's still in here, and it has to come out. All of a sudden, the boundaries have changed, the rules have changed, and guess what? They want to get rid of this junk. And you created a safe place to make it happen. Now, you're going to see, is very potentially, you're going to see some more aggressive behaviors and also you're going to see things that are just going to be like, whoa, that is not even what happened. That is not even true. It's not even close to the truth. What happened? It's in their perception of what happened. Got thrown into this whole mess. And it's all jumbled up in there. And it's all emotionally driven. They've been wanting to get it out ever since the moment it happened. And some of that stuff can go back 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Now, coupled with the other junk that is already in there, it gets all mixed together to the point it all feels like one big problem. So they're associating what you did with what somebody else did, and it all becomes one. Now, remember, you created a safe place, you changed the boundaries, you changed the rules, and all of a sudden they feel, I got a place now to get rid of this. And they're going to start just dumping more and more and more, and you're going to like, whoa, what's happening here? Here's what I want you to understand. As they're dumping this stuff that you may have nothing to do with, but it's just a place for them to dump, the saying goes, if you don't heal the wounds of your past, you will bleed all over the people who did not cut you. And that's what's going to happen. Again, as you create the safe place, guess what? You're the first place that is safe to let go of what is burdening them, what is dragging them down, and what's hurting them. So don't take offense. If you can be aware of this and you can recognize what's happening, you can really help somebody radically change their life by continuing to make it a safe place to dump this junk. But here's the thing, you can't take it personal. It's not you, it's all about them. Now, it gets difficult. It gets really hard because some, let me say, pretty radical stuff will come out of their mouth. And you know it's a blatant lie. You know it's completely untrue. The fact is, if you try to stop them and say, whoa, you know that's a lie. Boom. Guess what? You're no longer a safe place. And then what do? It bottles up and fills up until it has to come out. It fills up until it flows out. And guess what? Now, you are in their life. You are going to get caught in the overflow. So, here's my point in this whole video. If you really want to help this person, first you got to help them deal with the overflow, but you also have to help them deal with what's inside here by letting them just be what they are. Don't take it personal. Let them spew it. And here's a great way to diffuse anything. If they say, well, this happened and you did this and you reported on, simply say, I am so sorry. That's not what I meant to happen. What did that do? You didn't take responsibility. But you diffused it by, instead of saying, you know that's a lie, you know that's not true, you simply said, I'm so sorry, because yeah, I am sorry that happened to you, and that's not what you meant to happen in their life. So somebody has to be the relief valve, the release, let the junk come out. If you're willing to do that and let them just dump, and now just be careful that before you get ready to do this doesn't happen just once, twice, or 3 times. This happens over a period of time, depending how full this thing is, how big is this tank, how much junk is in there. It could take 6 months to a year. But I'm telling you, once it's empty, it's empty. Now, as it starts to dissipate, but it has to come out. So if you can imagine, we take a 5-gallon bucket and we put some mud in the bottom here. So let's just put this here. And we filled it up to here with dirt. And we filled the rest up with water. Now if I put a stick in there and stirred up that mud, all that mud's going to get stirred up in that water. So every time we put a stick in the bucket, it's going to stir up the mud. Simple solution. Let's get the mud out. So we're going to make a mess to get the mud out of the bucket. But once the mud is out, guess what? It's not going to make a mess anymore. It's just going to be messy until we get it out. So here's the thing you have to evaluate is what relationship do you have with this person? How much are you willing to give of yourself, first of all? But if you truly are dedicated to helping that person be better, you're going to get dirty. You're going to get messy until you can get all the mud out. Here's the problem. Don't take it personal. Too many people take it personal because the person you're working with is going to find something to blame you for, and they're going to put some of the responsibility on you. And maybe you might have some responsibility, but definitely not all that they're going to put onto you. So be aware that they're going to say things that are not true. But again, if you stand there and try to correct them and deny and try and nitpick, it's only going to make them worse. Just simply say, I'm sorry. That's not what I meant for you. It diffuses it. It gives them the ability to let this junk go. It's really powerful. It's really amazing. So if you're not willing to if you're not afraid to get messy and get the junk all over you until it can get out, you can radically, radically change somebody's life. It's amazing. It's powerful. And that person let me just say it this way. That person that you help will never, ever, ever be the same because of your willingness to get messy. So let me just say thank you for being the bigger person.